Today, we are going to be talking about how meal timing can affect weight loss and your overall health. Mainstream wisdom over the last several decades has told us to eat small, frequent meals if you want to lose weight. But is this strategy actually effective? Recently, a new, completely opposite approach has gained popularity: the 1 meal a day diet. In this video, we are going to talk about the pros and the cons of the 1 meal a day diet, who it might be beneficial for, and who might benefit more from a different approach. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kate. I'm a health coach and I post videos on a high-fat, nutrient-dense way of eating. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, feel free to share, and make sure to subscribe. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where I share new posts every single day. Before I begin, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that allows you to build a beautiful website and run your business. Head to squarespace.com/healthcoachkate to start your free trial today. The 1 meal a day diet, also known as OMAD, is a way of eating where a person eats 1 meal per day and fasts for the rest of the day. OMAD is a version of intermittent fasting and is said to be extremely effective for rapid weight loss and managing blood sugar and insulin. Now, while I do think this approach is beneficial for some people, there are other people who this might not be optimal for and who might benefit more from eating multiple meals throughout the day. In this video, we are going to look at the pros and the cons of eating multiple small meals throughout the day, and then the pros and the cons of eating 1 meal per day. Let's start off by talking about the logic behind both ways of eating. Small, frequent meals. As I said at the start of this video, mainstream wisdom has been telling us that eating smaller, frequent meals and snacks throughout the day is the best way to lose weight. The thinking behind this is that if you eat smaller meals more frequently, you are not hungry throughout the day, and you will end up eating less calories overall. The other part to this is that frequent eating throughout the day means your body is always digesting food, and this is thought to speed up your metabolism. But when we see this approach tested through scientific studies, the results are all over the place. Some studies find that participants do end up eating less overall, while others find that participants actually end up eating more. The research also shows that there is no significant increase in metabolism from eating more frequently throughout the day. And I think that if we look at how this approach has played out in the real world, where we are encouraged to always be snacking and eating smaller meals, the rate of diabetes and obesity shows that this is not working. The average American eats 5 to 6 times every day, a contrast to the 3 times per day that was common in the 1970s. A recent survey also reveals that more Americans are opting for smaller meals and snacks throughout the day, with 86% saying they've replaced at least 1 meal with a snack meal instead. So if people are following this approach, why are obesity rates only increasing? Even if this is a result of people underestimating how much they're consuming, it still shows that this isn't working. 1 meal a day. The 1 meal a day diet is based off the thinking that insulin drives fat storage. When insulin levels are high, our body is in fat storing mode. When insulin levels are low, our body is in fat burning mode. Insulin rises every time we eat and is lowest when we are fasting. By eating only 1 meal per day, you are maximizing the amount of time spent in fat burning mode, when your body is using your stored body fat for energy. And therefore, the 1 meal a day diet is thought to be a more effective strategy for weight loss. The pros and cons. As someone who has tried this frequent small meal approach, I found that instead of not being hungry throughout the day, I was actually always hungry. I would finish my perfectly measured 300-calorie meal and feel like I could eat 3 more serves. I would then tell myself, okay, I'm just gonna have my snack now instead of in a couple of hours. And everything would snowball from here. The end result was me finding it impossible to get anything done because I was always hungry and thinking about food or eating. From a practicality standpoint, the small frequent meals is completely inconvenient because so much of your day is spent preparing food and eating. Not to mention that when we have this mindset that we need to be eating every couple of hours, this means that we are always reaching for a snack. On the flip side, only eating one meal in a day means you have a huge time-saving advantage. And this provides so much food freedom. You don't have to be worrying about what you're gonna eat when you're out running errands or how you're gonna squeeze in a meal between meetings. But there is a catch. It takes a lot of initial and ongoing willpower to stick to this way of eating. A lot of people are up to it, and more power to you. Personally though, when I have tried to follow the 1 meal a day diet, I found it really difficult. And there is a concern about overeating when you do have your one meal, although I think it is pretty tough to casually overeat 2,000 calories in a meal. Can it be done? Sure, but I think you are going to be well aware that you are overeating by the time it gets to this point. So if you are able to stick to the 1 meal a day diet, this is going to be far more effective than eating smaller frequent meals throughout the day. But there are some exceptions, and I do not think that this is the only approach. One of the exceptions is for people who are insulin resistant. Insulin resistance is when your body's response to insulin is impaired. Normally, when you eat a meal, insulin is released and takes the glucose to where it needs to be in your body. And then the insulin levels return to baseline. In someone who is insulin resistant, however, the body becomes less sensitive to the actions of insulin, and blood sugar and insulin levels remain high for longer after eating. As I said before, when insulin is high, your body is in fat storing mode. And this is why it is really hard for people who are insulin resistant to lose weight. Fasting is known to be an effective strategy for those who are insulin resistant because when you're not eating, this is when insulin is lowest. So you would think that the 1 meal a day diet would be ideal for someone in this situation, but that's not always the case. Someone who is insulin resistant is going to have a greater insulin response to food, and the insulin will stay in their bloodstream longer after eating. Combine this with the fact that if you are eating all of your daily calories in one meal, your insulin response is going to be much higher, and the 1 meal a day diet might not be as effective for someone who's insulin resistant as it is for someone who is not. One important note here is that not all foods raise insulin levels the same amount. Carbohydrates have the greatest impact on our insulin. Protein has a moderate impact and fat very little. Now, although the response to protein is only moderate, when you are consuming all of the protein that you need for the day in one meal, this can add up. Although this is probably okay for someone who is metabolically healthy, for someone who is insulin resistant, this response is magnified. And that brings us to the middle ground, 2 meals a day. While fasting is beneficial for improving insulin resistance, 1 meal a day might not be as effective, and eating 2 meals instead might be a better approach. By breaking the total insulin load up into 2 meals, the insulin response after eating each meal will be lower. And this isn't just beneficial for weight loss. For myself personally, I find 2 meals a day to be the sweet spot. Because I eat a very low carb diet, it is relatively easy for me to go several hours without eating, and 2 meals a day just comes naturally. I think a lot of people have realized that this small, frequent meal approach isn't effective and are turning to time-restricted eating instead. However, less isn't necessarily more. OMAD might be beneficial for some, but it is not necessarily the gold standard. If you can shorten your eating window even a little bit, you'll experience some of the benefits of fasting. That can look like eating all of your calories within a 12-hour window, 3 meals and no snacking, or an 8-hour window with 2 meals, or in the case of OMAD, a 1-hour window. All of these approaches can work. It's about finding what works for you and what is helping you progress towards your goals. I have a whole other video on intermittent fasting, so if you want to know more about that, you can check that video out afterwards. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comment section down below how many meals you eat per day and why. And before you go, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to run your business. Everything from the actual design of your website to hosting your online store and accepting transactions to blogging. Squarespace does it all. It's really easy to get started. You don't even have to enter your credit card details to begin your free trial. With beautiful templates and built-in search engine optimization tools, Squarespace will ensure your online presence is professional and that you are being found by the right people. Head to squarespace.com/healthcoachkate to start your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use code healthcoachkate to save 10% off your first order. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you might also like my video on intermittent fasting, which I spoke about earlier. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can click the video here. And if you're interested in starting a keto or carnivore diet, you can check out my coaching programs here. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.